All right, let's go.
All right,
Season 1, episode 16, Sweet 16,
right.
your Fit Show. We're going to start swinging into basketball. I got this cough that won't go away. Um,
Me too. Me too.
do you? That's
Yeah,
horrible.
I was on IR all week.
One thing we haven't done since we started this show, Nick, is discuss our relationship, how we know each other, who are we? So I'm gonna start. Um, and I've known Nick, I think it was 1986, March Madness. Is that correct?
Uh, we can do better than that.
What?
Uh, Not my memory is Veterans Day, 1987, huge snowstorm.
You mean when the Yados and when they all came into town?
Uh,
Jim and
yes,
Adam?
but the timeline is different. Like we met at like 2 o'clock, and then that all happened that I went on my way, and then the Yado and everything happened at like 6 o'clock.
When we just destroyed Beckley's record collection?
Right.
Me
Right.
and Yato play
So it was
frisbee
a
with his
momentous day.
45s. They make
Right.
great 45s make great frisbees.
Right.
I thought we met during March Madness.
Right. Well, you're right. Then we met. It's a great sports story. I came by your apartment
Right?
and I said, "Hey, is anybody here?" And you said, "Oh, I'm out here. I'm out here outside."
Yeah.
And I like went around and you were trying to pilfer cable TV
No,
to
no,
watch
no,
the
no. Not
NCAA
pilfer.
tournament. What?
Wait. We
Uh,
couldn't afford cable. Back then,
right.
March Madness was exclusively on ESPN, I think the first two rounds, right?
Yep.
So my neighbor had cable because they're a bunch of rich guys, right?
Right.
My roommates were all poor. So
Right.
I got a three-way splicer
Right.
connected their cable from Comcast, the cable into the big part of the splicer, and then it
Right.
split out two ways. I gave them back their cable, so they're good.
Right.
And then we took a little piece for ourselves.
Right.
As I remember correctly, I asked you to hold the ladder for me because I thought I was going to fall and kill myself
Right.
as I was
Right.
hanging 20 feet from the ground.
Right.
And so that's, we almost go back 40 years. Nick is one of the few friends I have that has never disappointed me one time in 40 years, which says a lot. Most friends, they disappoint you occasionally. So hopefully not all the time, but occasionally.
Right.
Nick has never done that one time, which is I really commend him for it. He's a great gift giver. Nick is always very conscientious of everyone's birthdays, of weddings, of everything, any kind of event. Nick is always there. He also knows more about sports than I do, and he's the only person I can say that about. And there's a
Right.
lot of people who think they know sports, but they don't know shit. So when we go back in the history and the annals, and he's well read. Nick has read a shitload of books on sports, all of them great books. He's shared some with me. So that's our story together, and that's why we're doing the show. We've been talking about doing something together for years, and here we are doing the show, which I think is pretty good right now. I think
Right.
it's going well.
Right.
So I wanted to commend you, Nick, for being
Right.
my friend for so long.
All right.
So let's talk about the week, Nikki. Army
All right.
Navy, I missed on that. I thought Navy would play a little better than they did.
Right. Right.
The over under was 27 with 1 point over.
Right. So there was a safety at the end of the game, right?
No, I didn't see that. It was a bad beat.
I don't. Yeah, I think it was a bad beat. If you had it depends on what you had, but it was a red hot situation. It was a
So
sweat.
Army got a safety on Navy, or Navy got a safety on Army? Because they got 11. So I'm assuming it was Navy on Army.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And that's what made the 17-11 game. I did not see
Right.
it. I saw some of the game, but
Right.
we got to go to that next year.
Right. So this is where I come in.
Okay.
So I looked at this today because as you know, the Army Navy game, the schools always have traditionally met halfway in Philadelphia, and
Right.
they've played in California, they've played in New York many decades
Baltimore.
ago,
Baltimore.
Baltimore. But so this is part of a 4-game set. So 2023 was in Massachusetts, up in Foxborough, essentially Boston. 2024 in Andover, Maryland, which
Yeah.
is like I said,
Redskins Stadium.
the Redskins Stadium.
Right.
2025 in Baltimore, and then 2026 in East Rutherford, New Jersey, right outside New York City.
Okay.
So we definitely have to go to one of those games.
Oh no,
And
we're
if you're
going next
listening, you
year.
have to go to one too if you live in the Northeast.
Yeah, yeah. I want to go next year because I have a buddy who the Baltimore one might be an easier get because my buddy runs all the cameras and security for MNT Stadium.
Okay.
So he's offered me tickets before and invited me, and I didn't go. I messed up, but when it was there in the past, so I'm really looking forward to going to that game. I love that pageantry. I think it'd be a cool game to go to. I'll wear my Roger Staubach. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Navy. My brother's a Navy veteran, Mauricio, so it would be good to be there.
Right.
So we got to figure that out. I know you've planned a couple of road trips for next year already. You're ready to go.
I piggybacked on you.
Labor Day.
I sort of invited myself. I don't know if that's kosher, but I did
Of
it.
course, it's good, man. You kidding me?
I booked a hotel room for the LSU USC game in Las Vegas
Yes.
on Labor Day weekend, and the Maryland at Oregon game. I think it's November 9th in Eugene.
Yeah, those are definitely must goes. And then I'm gonna go to the Maryland Penn State game at Penn State. So hopefully you can make that as well.
Right.
We got Shelly's friends got a house there that we can stay at, which is really nice. All right, so we got some roadies set up for next year. Jaden Daniels won the Heisman.
Oh, wait a minute. There's one other possibility. Sorry to cut you off. There's you flagged excuse me, a good issue. The Red River Riot is going to stay in the Cotton Bowl through 2036. So we got to keep that on our radar.
Yeah. We definitely need to go make that game before we're too old and we can't get drunk with all the fans, you know. Then I don't want to go there and just be sober. That's not the way it's going.
Right.
A couple other items. Dylan Gabriel, Oklahoma's quarterback, speaking of Oklahoma, transferring to Oregon.
Right.
I think I don't know why he left Oklahoma. These players, I don't know if it's even nil because Oklahoma has money too. So I have no idea why he transferred, but he's out. Okay, thanks. And then you know, there's been the quarterback Riley Leonard, who you like from Duke,
right,
going to Notre Dame. And then MJ Morris, the NC State quarterback, went to Maryland today. So the quarterbacks usually are the dominoes that fall first during the portal. And then they build around what they get in terms of the quarterback. So I'm intrigued what happens at those schools when these, you know, obviously hired guns come in. Are the quarterbacks that are there already going to leave? You know, because they don't. I mean, they brought someone in. They're going to pay them. Obviously, they want that kid to start, right?
Right.
So interesting to see what happens with that. The other thing, okay, so we're ready to go for basketball. It's fully going now. Got my Kareem Abdul-Jabbar jersey today. One of my favorite players, even though I wasn't a Lakers fan. The guy was so good. I mean, he was just so good.
And a class act and a good author, a noted author. He's written some good books.
And he liked to smoke the little weed back in the day.
Right.
Okay? Before it was legal.
And a great actor in the movie Airplane, who should have gotten an Oscar.
I would share my screen for that clip, but I don't have it teed up, so sorry, Nick.
Right,
But we all know
right,
that clip.
right.
You tell your dad to chase Walton and Lanier up and down the 94 feet up and down the court. All right, so let's, because it's the first show, let's talk about who we like for the year. It's early. There's been some games that already happened. I think these
Right.
early games typically, whoever's shooting hot wins. You know, Maryland's lost a couple really bad losses. I do think Maryland's the most disappointing team so far this year out of any team in the country, even though we root for them, just because they were like top 15 preseason and they're 7-4 now, or 7-5. I don't know. I think it's 7-4. Have beaten nobody, have lost anyone they've played of consequence. They've lost to, including UAB, who isn't very good. So in terms of the Final Four, I'm going to throw out some teams out there that I like.
Okay.
I really like UConn. I really like
Okay.
what Danny Hurley's done to rebuild that team, even though he's lost some nice pieces. I think that team's really talented, man. I could see them repeating. I could totally see them repeating. They're at 12, 17-1, something like that to repeat. I think that's a pretty good bet, man. I like Kansas, you know, Bill Self,
Right.
piece of crap that he is, has got Hunter, got some other pieces with him.
Right.
They're pretty good. Unlimited nil money. They just write a check and you come.
Right.
I like Purdue.
Okay.
I think this could be the year that they go to the Final Four again. First time since 1980. They kept pretty much everyone and brought in a couple really stud freshmen on top of it. So I think they're going to be good, man. I mean, I definitely see them winning the Big Ten, but I think they could get there as well. And then my kind of off the radar, but I kind of like them every year. They're pretty good as Gonzaga. I think they kind of run the table out west. And there's really, you know, UCLA's not very good this year out west. Utah's just okay. I think they could get a high seed, a 1 seed in the West Coast and run the table there on the West bracket.
Okay.
So those would be my Final Four. Any thoughts on that, or do you have any teams that you'd like to talk about?
You know, it's so early now, and it's not like, you know, years ago when you knew this team had 4 guys coming back, or it's like they have 2 guys coming back, 2 freshmen coming in, a transfer from a different region of the country. It's very murky. You know, it's going to take a little time for things to.
I agree. But good coaching always blends that together, right? I mean,
Right. But would you? I mean, it's harder to be a coach now than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, guys were getting paid 20 years ago, Nick, but it was under the radar and it wasn't the dollar amounts we're talking about now. Guys were getting, you know, $5 grand, 10 grand from Kentucky, you know, from Kansas. But now Jimmy Sino, you know, he's known as Jimmy Sino Calhoun because he handed out $100 bills to his players, you know. These guys are getting $1 million contracts. $1 million. And this no exaggeration. Hunter Dickinson got $1.5 million to go to Kansas. $1.5 million. So I agree with you. It is harder. And the players are probably feeling a little entitled because they are getting paid so much money. But it all comes down to playing and coaching, and you got to have. You're right, man. It's 2 stars, couple freshmen, and the freshmen, if they don't play now, they're gone. I mean, that's the reality. They don't play. See ya. You know, we're going to go somewhere else where we can play. And then hope to get a good nil situation there as well. You know. In terms of a sleeper team, I like that Clemson team. You know that this year, I think they're undefeated right now.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, he always has. He's been good for a few years now. And I think the ACC's not too strong this year. I mean, Carolina's good, but Duke's kind of weak. And I could see Clemson sneaking in there into the Final Four as well as a sleeper. You look up, 4th seed, 3 seed getting in.
That's a good one. We'll have to mark it down.
Well, it's
December
on tape,
13th.
Nick. It's
What?
it's it's on tape. Everyone will
Right.
hear
It's on
it.
tape. Right.
We'll look at the tape.
Right.
So the best player I've seen so far, and is to me, it's Hunter Dickinson and Edie. I mean, I don't know what you think about that, but I think they got to be the 2 top players for Player of the Year this year. Don't you think?
It's real early, but yeah, they're in the mix, definitely.
Yeah. Is UCLA any good this year?
They lost to Villanova in Villanova on Saturday night.
Yeah.
So
I saw some of that. They're big though. They got that big
they're
center.
big. They're he's got like 2 foreign players.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of work to do. When I say him, I mean Mick Cronin has
Right.
a lot of moving parts. I think they're going to be a lot different on February 15th or March 15th than they are on December 15th. We'll just have to see how things go. We'll just have to keep an eye on things.
Okay. All right. I because Maryland plays them in 10 days. We'll see how that game goes out in Poly. I think they probably pretty much wax Maryland because they're so big. I mean, they got that 7-foot European kid. Then they got that Bona kid who's really good, who was good last year. I thought he was going pro, man. At least I was hoping he was going pro, but he didn't go pro. So it was interesting. I mean, I think they're going to be pretty good actually. Again, they're always kind of good in the Pac-12. I mean, USC has the LeBron's son on it, so that's like a big deal. I don't want to talk about that too much until he starts showing me what he can do in the college ranks. Because high school players fizzle out all the time. I did get to go to. We talked about this a little bit last week. I did get to go to Indiana. I'm going to share my screen and show you some of the inside of Assembly Hall. Really nice. Hang on.
All right. Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Where is it? Here we go. No. All right. You see me there?
I do. All right.
So that's the front of it.
Right. You look good.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Assembly Hall. It's pretty nice. It's kind of like the trophy room sits right inside when you walk in. Oh, this is actually the practice facility. Look at this place. All the All-Americans are up there. They don't really have a wide variety of uniforms, either white or red there. It's not like Maryland's trophy case with all the uniforms. Bobby Knight just died, so they were kind of mourning Knight a little bit when we were there. It's kind of a cool.
Oh, they'll be doing that for a long time.
Yeah, chandelier there.
Right.
Really, I mean, it's obviously a blue blood decorated program.
Right.
Let's see. I went to the football stadium too, took a few of those. There's Mike Davis. My buddy Bruce is pointing at the fact that they lost that championship to Maryland.
Oh, yeah.
The 0-2 championship. There's the 3 guys I travel with, Mike, Marty, and Bruce.
All right.
Yeah, so they have plaques for every national championship out in front of the stadium, which is kind of cool. Yeah, let's get rid of the football stadium. The football stadium's kind of neat. It was all locked up though, which I was kind of surprised.
Right.
Because usually they don't lock, that stuff up. Hang on. All right, so this is us coming in for the game now. So they have this is the 76 team. They have it in like a bronze statue of all the players.
Oh my God.
Starting 5 or 6, I guess. Really cool. There's me taking a photo, holding hands with, I think it was Scott May. Me and Scott May are holding hands there.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's see. So this is kind of from the top. So the stadium, man, it's very severely sloped, as you can see.
Right.
And there's a small upper deck up top. we sat, if you can see my mouse, see that kid in the white shirt? We sat
Right.
basically right next, one row in front of him, right in front of him. One row in front and right in front of him. So we were like 48-yard line, fourth row. They're great seats, man. Let's see. So get this, when you're there, they let you just walk on the court. No
Oh, cool.
security, no. So I'm sitting in my seat, right? And these are pictures I'm taking from my seat, right? As the players are
Right.
warming up for the game. And that's the student body right there. So they get like 3 sections and a couple sections in the upper deck. And I always go in and talk to the student body when I'm at a game. Always. Go in there, pick a couple guys and start chewing the fat with them about their team and stuff like that. It was very cool. So now at this point, I am on the court. I mean, literally, you can see the
Right.
photos. It's not like I had a really zoomed in lens. They just let me down there. I just walked around down there.
Cool.
Yeah, it was very cool, man. Extremely cool. I was just shocked how. I mean, look, there's the baseline. There's me right there. Eh, Very liberal about how what they let me get in or not. How close they let you get to it. I was actually talking to Jameer after he took the shot. No problem. Um, it's a very cool venue. Obviously, a lot of history there.
Right.
So you can see it. I mean, it's pretty severe. Let's see if we can get. So I met Herman Wheeler, which I've seen him at a bunch of road games in the past. So Herman wants to be on our show.
All right.
Discuss college basketball, so we're going to have him as a guest. So there's all the championship banners there. Let's see if I can get a better picture of that. I mean, that's just such unbelievable access, which I am shocked they let me get that close to the court, man. I mean, I'm right there next to Jamie Kaiser, no problem. Let's see. Oh, there's the students, yeah. All right, so the game's about to start. They're a pretty good team. I mean, they got some horses on that team. There's all the banners right there. Really cool.
Oh, what?
Really cool. Those peppermint pants they wear, man. Those candy stripe pants.
Yeah.
Students wear them. They're the worst, man. So there's Signetti, the JMU coach, was at the game because he just got
Oh,
introduced to the
okay.
new coach, and he gave a speech. Man, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, you said it was a rousing speech.
Yeah, it was really good, man. Really good. I mean, he's ready to go. All right, so that's kind of a look into the stadium. I think it was
Well,
pretty
that's
cool.
cool, man. It's good. Yeah, great to see the
Yeah,
road trip.
yeah, it was a really good time, and I was happy about getting to go there. We're trying to make it to every team in the Big Ten, so that's the goal. We've been to a bunch of them already, but there's more to go. All right, so there's some great upcoming cross conference games coming up this week. This weekend, I should say, not this week, but this weekend. And I thought we'd go over them a little bit.
Okay.
Point spreads aren't really haven't popped up yet, but I'll pick them out, and you let me know what you think.
Okay.
Baylor, Michigan State in Detroit. Michigan State's off to a slow start, and Baylor's undefeated. I mean, the job. What's the Baylor's coach, Nick?
What's that?
What's the coach at Baylor?
Scott Drew?
The job he's done there, seriously. I mean, he can really coach, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
national title, Final Fours. I mean, that program was done,
right, right.
close to being extinct.
Yeah, they had 20 years ago, they had a murder, remember?
Yeah. So I mean, he is unbelievable job he's doing. Maryland interviewed him for their job before Turgeon got hired, and they didn't think he had enough experience at that point. But
I guess he got some.
yeah, exactly, and a national title to boot. So, what do you
Right.
think about this game? You think they go into Michigan State and beat Sparty at Detroit? I mean, there'll be a pro
Yes.
Michigan State crowd.
But I think it'll be a big crowd at in Detroit. I think Tom Izzo, it'll be a good game. I think it's a game that if you can, do some online Christmas shopping or try to be home maybe during that game. I think that's a good game.
So you think Baylor wins?
I do.
So do I. I think Baylor wins too, but I think it'll be a close game, just like you said. I don't know what the point spread is.
Right.
Arizona v. Purdue in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Another,
Arizona.
I think it's number one against number two, actually. Arizona's
Right.
undefeated number one.
And Arizona smoked Wisconsin
Yeah.
last weekend in Tucson.
And Wisconsin's been beating a few people too. They've had a
Right.
good starting year.
Right. Yeah, I have to go with Arizona. That's a good game. I mean, you know, Matt Painter, the Purdue coach, is anxious to get a win, to get off to a strong start, to wash away the loss last
The
year.
stench of the 16-1
Yeah,
loss. Do you like Arizona? I am going to go with Purdue.
I'll agree there.
Are you going to go with Purdue too?
I'll agree. I think Matt Painter is a very good coach.
Yeah. Oh, I do too. I do too. I think the players kind of quit on him last year, and
Right.
once it went sideways, he didn't know what to do. But yeah, I agree with you. Okay, UNC v. Kentucky in Atlanta in the ATL. UNC got off to a good start. Kentucky's Kentucky. They got horses.
Right.
It's in Atlanta, so I think the crowd probably favors Kentucky, I would say, right?
I think that's probably right. Yeah.
Their fans are insane. I'm gonna take UNC there. I think UNC has some experienced
Okay.
pieces with
Sounds good to me.
Baycott. Kentucky's young as usual with a bunch of freshmen, and I'm gonna say the experienced guys win this one.
And I think also North Carolina's played a lot of games. I know they beat Arkansas.
Yeah.
They played a lot. I bet I don't know how. I bet they played maybe at least 10 games so far. Okay.
Both picked there, so we've agreed on every pick so far.
Right.
LSU, Texas in Houston. I threw this game in there because I think they're going to be both in the SEC next year.
Right.
LSU, their program's kind of sideways.
Right.
Since the Wade Wallace debacle.
Right.
I like Texas there because it's in Houston too. I don't know about you. What do you think?
I'm gonna have to go with Texas too. I mean, yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Fucking even Steven here. All right, this is the game right here. UConn v. Gonzaga in Spokane.
Okay.
I think there's an upset brewing here. I like Gonzaga in this game. I like them because they're at home. I think they're going to be inspired. And that's a long travel for Connecticut, man, to go across the whole country. And Spokane, I've gone there for work. It is remote, man. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
It's not an easy place to get to. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Connecticut probably flies private, so I don't think they have to worry about connecting. But I just think that's a long way to travel for to play a game and then get out of there. So I'm gonna take Gonzaga there.
Okay, sounds good to me.
You like that too?
Yeah.
All right. Then the Battle of Chicago, Northwestern v. DePaul.
Okay, so this to me, Northwestern administration is the example of a school that has given Chris Collins, hired the coach and then given him time.
Yes.
And he has used that time well. And they are good.
Yes, they are.
And so my hat's off to them. It is a battle of Chicago. It's Oh shit.
You're good. You're good.
Oh, sorry. It should be a good game. I'm gonna go with Northwestern, but I think it's gonna maybe go in overtime. I think it'll be a tough game.
I'm gonna take the Paul there. We'll split
Okay.
that.
All right.
I think it's at the State Farm Arena, the Paul's home court. Not that that matters. I think Northwestern will
Right.
have fans there.
Right.
But I do think the Paul's pretty athletic, man, and Northwestern's not as athletic.
Right.
And I think the Paul wants to take a little something from Northwestern, because they obviously beat Purdue earlier in the year, so they're kind of ruling Chicago right now. And I think
Right.
the Paul's going to play inspired ball and beat them.
I think that's a good way of looking at it.
UCLA v. Ohio State in Atlanta. This is the doubleheader with North Carolina, Kentucky. So UCLA coming across the country. Ohio State just lost to Penn State, by the way, who
Right.
Maryland beat in overtime.
Right.
And Ohio State's got a really nice backcourt. A couple freshmen that started last year now are sophomores are really good.
Right.
Ohio UCLA's big. Who do you like here, Nikki?
I like the Bruins. I like UCLA.
You do because of the size.
The size. I think Mick Cronin, he's really played an aggressive schedule trying to get his team, ready. They're playing the top team.
With not a loaded team too. Last year's team was loaded. Last year's team was the Final Four Go championship.
Right.
I'm gonna take Ohio State there. I think the travel is gonna wear them down.
All right.
I think they're gonna be tired there. And I think Ohio State takes them. I think Ohio State's got a little bit of chip on the shoulder after losing
the
to
Buckeyes.
Penn State. Texas A&M
The Aggies
versus Houston in Houston.
Houston
so the
Cougars.
Battle of Texas.
Yeah.
Both teams are ranked. I think Houston's ranked third. Houston's been good, man, under Calvin for the last 5 years. Really good.
Right.
The Final Four. They got to the final game last year or 2 years ago, right?
Yep.
He just reloads, I guess. And he's a really good coach when, now that the nil and all that, the portal and all that's all legal. Remember, he got in trouble at Indiana and at Oklahoma.
Right.
Cell phones, text messaging during the quiet periods of recruiting.
Right.
He couldn't quit him. He couldn't quit. He just kept texting the whole time.
Right.
So I'm gonna take Houston here. I think they're at home. I think they're athletic. A&M plays a slower brand of ball, and I think Houston's gonna run.
I'm gonna take the Cougars too. I'm on the Cougars as well.
All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 games. We'll try to make it 10 next week.
All right, it's good though.
Yeah, I think if we get point spreads, we'll give them to you. But these are going to be almost money line picks, right? Almost because we got a week to pick the games, and we might not be. We're not sure how long it will take to. The point spreads just don't show up until the day before, right? So that's kind of like the slate for this week. I think those are the top games. I went through all the schedules.
I think good job by you. Yeah, you picked them all out.
Yeah. And obviously to finish up a little more college football, we got the playoffs. FSU supposedly is suing the NCAA or the college football playoff system. They need to go away. All right. FSU needs to just say sorry, we didn't get in there and walk away.
Right.
So I got some intel, like I always do. A couple things. One on Juwan Howard at Michigan. A good friend of mine's 2 kids go there. He's become an avid fan of the school. He's in the sports world. He said he didn't have a problem with Juwan telling Mark Turgeon, "I'm going to kill you." No problem with that. I'm like, I had a problem with that. You can go to jail for threatening to kill someone. And then when he got into it with the Wisconsin coach, he said, that was enough for me. Obviously, the guy's got an anger problem, right?
Right.
And then now he's got into it with a strength coach on his own team.
Right.
Now he's bringing the stuff home. And supposedly the Michigan, and now he's like, we're done. He's got to go. He's got to, he's either got to resign or leave. And supposedly Martelli's been coaching all year long. I don't know if you knew that. Because he had open heart surgery in September. And he didn't want the stress of coaching the team, I guess. And Martelli's been doing all the coaching, even though Jawan's on the bench kind of screaming and yelling. But supposedly he may be out this week. He may be out by Friday, and Martelli will take over till the end of the year. You know, we love Phil Martelli. He's one of my favorite characters.
Everybody loves Phil Martelli.
Great coach, good Paisan. You know, took that St. Joe's team to the Final Four, the Jameer Nelson team. So that is a situation that's brewing. The other situation is the Orange Bowl. So I talked to my friend there. I think you met Palms before. Haven't you met Eric? Miami. And we've known him since first grade. Me and Adam and Jim have known him since first grade. I spoke to Palmsy about I got tickets for some of my boys going down there for the game. But I spoke to Palmsy about is Florida State going to show up? Supposedly they're thinking of boycotting and walking away from $7.5 million. And he said, I've been in meetings with them all week. They're showing up. I said, all right. That's all I wanted to know. He said, so they will be there on December 30th to play the game, which is good. But they're thinking about leaving the ACC now. They're like done with it. They're like, this conference has no clout, has no juice. And we're getting all this, we're getting, 30, 40 million less than the Big Ten. So they're thinking about jumping into the Big Ten. Supposedly that vote happens at the end of January. Where they jump ship. Now the ACC has a big buyout clause, though. They got to stroke a huge check in the tune of like $35 million. But I think they're done. And then they got to take a pair with them. So I think they're looking at Miami. So Miami and Florida State would jump to the Big Ten, which would be interesting for football. So that's kind of a bit of the news on the football front.
Well, that's some good intel,
Yeah, man. I mean, you hang around enough, know enough people, you make a couple phone calls, and people tell you some stories and tell you what's going on. So that's that. Obviously, the teams are preparing. There's some really good bowl games coming up. The disappointing thing is a lot of players are opting out of the games, which it kind of sucks because you're not getting the full team there. And I get why the players, they don't want to get hurt. That's fine. But it's disappointing, to be honest with you. If I was traveling for the game, and Maryland's playing in the Music City Bowl, which is a great bowl in Nashville. I'm not going, but Maryland, a lot of their players are actually playing in the game. The guys who haven't gone into the portal and left school are playing in the game. So it should be interesting to see what happens there against Auburn, who's lost some players, and they got some opt-outs. So we should hopefully win that game. That's about it, man.
All right, man. Sounds good. Good show.
Anything else on your front?
Nothing.
Anything else you want to add about our almost 40-year friendship?
Yeah, but let me get back to you next time.
Okay. All right. Good. All right, man. Thank you, Nikki. Sorry to be on so late, man. I just sick as a dog.
Hey, anytime.
All right.
Always nice to chat with you.
The day trip to Detroit is brutal, by the way. Flew in this morning, flew back this evening. Terrible. Horrible. All right, man. See you. Bye-bye.
All right, sir. Be well. Thank you.